What is up, guys? Misha here from BeyondTheHuddle.com, where we show you guys how to use the on-chain data and smart money analysis to create an edge in the markets. Now, guys, obviously I promised you guys a video 2 days ago, said that we were gathering the data for the video. Now here it is. We are going to go over some of the craziest days we've seen in the crypto market since 2013. We've seen the biggest drop in Bitcoin since 2013. We've seen some crazy drops on alts as well. Overall, the entire market has been bleeding. There's a lot of people trying to guessing what kind of caused this drop. Is it coronavirus? Is it the BitMEX liquidations, or is it the Plus token scam? So we're gonna go over that, and we're also gonna go over what the fundamentals are telling us after we've seen such a major drop. Should we expect more downside, or should we expect some type of recovery? We'll go over the chart and see kind of like what are the levels that we should be paying attention to. So let's go ahead and get started with that. First things first, we're going to start with the Plus token scam. So now, guys, if we go ahead and take a look at this article right here, this is an article from Forbes, and they were talking about this Plus token scam, and they were talking about how they stole over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. This is a scam, a Ponzi scheme that happened in China and Korea, and how they were sending these coins to exchanges and selling them. So we can go ahead and take a look at a tweet from this guy right here that was talking about how they were moving about 13,000 Bitcoins worth 118 million and selling them. They've been doing it since around 10,000 this year, so when Bitcoin crossed 10,000. So how can we verify such information, right? How can we see if it's true that people are actually sending all these coins to exchanges? Well, that's where our on-chain data comes in handy. So we're going to go ahead and look at the exchange inflow for Bitcoin, and we're going to zoom in, and we're going to be able to see that recently, look at that, guys, there's been a lot of coins being deposited into exchanges. So we can see here right around the 10,000 level, we saw about 48,000, and then it stayed still a little bit, and then all of a sudden around the 9th of March, we saw a major increase in those inflows, and then on March 13, even more coins were deposited, March 11, March 12. So again, lots and lots of deposits, guys. So that tells us that a lot of people actually trying to sell. So it kind of validates the idea that, yes, these guys have probably been depositing a lot of coins into exchanges. And when you deposit coins into exchange, the intention is to sell. So that one thing that we can see that actually added fuel to the fire, because obviously there is also the fact that there's been panic from the coronavirus. That is something that we cannot ignore. There's been people that have sold out of panic because of that. Now, also, there is another thing that happened, which is also very important, which is the BitMEX liquidation, guys. So there's been over 700 million in liquidations of BitMEX. That is crazy, guys. That is a crazy amount of people that have been liquidated, and that also fuels the drop. So as you guys can see right here, we had price go from 7,200 to 5,600 in about 15 minutes. We had $702 million liquidated on BitMEX. So that's the highest we've seen since November 14, 2018. And you guys remember what that was, November 14, 2018. That was during the big drop before the low in 2018. So that's another thing for us to keep in mind. And you guys can see right here, when a sudden price drop almost always results in long squeeze, which in turn adds to the downward pressure around the cryptocurrency, leading to an exaggerated price drop. So all of these things put together kind of explain why we've seen such an aggressive drop on Bitcoin. If we go into the actual chart, you guys can see on a single day on March 12, we had a 38% decrease, 38% drop in price, which is crazy, guys. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what the on-chain is telling us, what the fundamentals is telling us overall, like as a long-term perspective, because remember, guys, we cannot get lost in these short-term movements. Yes, this was a big drop, but again, it's only been a 2-day type phenomena, right? So we gotta keep the bigger picture in mind. So how we're gonna do that is we're gonna be looking at something called the MVRV ratio. Now, guys, the MVRV ratio is basically a ratio between the realized cap and the market cap. Now, what is the realized cap? So let me go into the realized cap so you guys can see what the realized cap is. So basically right here, guys, the realized, sorry, I went into realized price. So the realized cap, right, it's very different from the actual market cap. It's a better version of the market cap. And what they do is, instead of using the current daily close to value each individual coin in circulation, what they do is they value each coin at the price when it was last moved, right? So this gives us a better idea of, okay, what's going on with the long-term holders. When the market cap drops aggressively, if we can take a look at the difference between the two, we have the realized cap here in orange and the market cap in dark brown. You guys can see that the market cap had a major decrease, whereas the realized cap has not dropped as much. So what this kind of tells us is that it's mostly been new money and short-term traders panicking and panic selling. So it's not really been the bigger whale, the long-term holders actually dumping their coins. So that's a good sign. Okay, now going back into this MVRV ratio that we were looking at, which basically is a ratio between the market cap and the realized cap. So here it says that it gives us an indication of when the traded price is below a fair value. So if we guys take a look at this, whenever we have this one level right here, right, so it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all these deviations, and whenever we go below 1, those are usually the times where you see major bottoms in Bitcoin. You guys can see one right here in this is 2011. Then we had one right here, the 2015 bottom, and then obviously we had the 2018 bottom right here. And then now look at what's happening now, guys. This is only the fourth time that we've seen the MVRV actually go below 1. So that's kind of telling us that Bitcoin is undervalued. And again, the past 3 times that this has happened, although a very small sample size, but every single time it has happened, it has been a great area to be able to accumulate Bitcoin at a relatively cheap price. It's only happened 4 times. Well, this is the 4th time. So again, so based on that, we can see that overall, this drop right here has taken Bitcoin into an area where wolves could potentially accumulate, and also what we saw from the realized cap versus the market cap. When we actually compare the two of them, we can see that it's been mostly new money actually exiting the market, not so much the long-term holders and the whales. So now that we understand that, we understand what has happened fundamentally with the drop. We also understand fundamentally where Bitcoin is most likely headed, what the health of the Bitcoin network is. And obviously there's a lot of other metrics that we could go into, but I thought these were the most impactful that we could be looking at for the current moment. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the actual Bitcoin price. Now obviously you guys remember we were calling for this 10,350 level. Now obviously once 10,350 got hit, I knew we could have some type of pullback, but obviously I did not expect such a drop to happen. I'm not gonna lie here and say, oh, I knew we were gonna drop that much. I absolutely did not expect such a drop. And as a matter of fact, there have been people that actually DM me on Instagram, and they were asking me about this, and I was like, yeah, I'm most likely I'm thinking that we're probably gonna come down into this discount right there. So if I go to a weekly time frame, so you guys can see it, that was the area that I expected to hold, because if I understand that this 2018 bottom was the cycle low, I thought, okay, maybe we're just gonna respect this discount right here and then finally go higher from there. But obviously, guys, this is not what happened. So let's go ahead and dissect what has happened on price since we hit this 10,350 all the way down to here, and then what I expect to potentially happen next. So looking at this, you guys remember we did talk about this demand level right here, which had a tiny bounce, and then price was unable to break the premium, come down. Once you break the demand zone, it then becomes resistance, and then you guys can see, boom, price actually dropped down into another demand zone, and you guys saw me talk about this buy right here, what we bought here, and then we were expecting move higher. We did see a move higher, but then unable to break this resistance zone, and then price dropped all the way down. Now when it was dropping all the way down here, once we got down into this area, which is the big discount that I was talking about, I was looking for a potential reversal signal, which we almost got, but we did not end up getting that signal. And then right after, price actually collapsed completely, which actually took me by surprise. I did not expect that to happen, guys. This is what we call a black swan event. These things don't happen very, very often. They very rarely happen. So now that we went over this, now what are we seeing? We're seeing price sit down in the discount right here. So we are within this discount. Now obviously we do have to wait for reversal signals. We have to pay attention to what the on-chain data is telling us. But what could potentially happen is we could potentially see some type of consolidation around here, and then see price actually start to make its way back higher. Now, this is scenario number one. Now, scenario number two it would be very, very interesting, because it would have to take us down below that previous 2018 cycle low, because if we go back into the on-chain, we can see that that was the cycle low right here. So if it does that, because remember guys, at the time in 2018 when this was happening, here at Beyond the Huddle, we did expect price to come down into this area right here, but it actually never did. So could it potentially do that? Absolutely, it could. But that's why we're gonna have to keep an eye on the on-chain data, because that's what's gonna give us an idea of what's truly happening in the market. Now we have the levels on the chart, but these levels don't mean anything if we don't have the fundamental backdrop as to why these levels should hold. So right now we are still within this this discount zone, and we're going to keep monitoring the on-chain data to see how likely is it for this discount to hold, or if we could push down lower into here. But again, make no mistake about it, guys. Overall, Bitcoin is pointing towards a rally towards the bull side. We don't really have a metric telling us that we are completely bearish at the moment. So that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you guys got some value from this. Again, remember the on-chain right here, we went down into a undervalued territory on Bitcoin. So how long is Bitcoin going to stay in that undervalued territory? Probably not too long. We've seen it happen for quite a little bit here, back when we had the 2015 low, and then the 2018 low. We did stay there for just a couple months, but not too long. So that's why I'm saying I think we could potentially see some type of consolidation around this area before we see a potential move higher. Now, obviously, there's a couple other metrics that we can look at, but I'm not gonna go into all of the details about that. If you guys want to learn more about these metrics, you guys can check out our website, beyondthehuddle.com. There's more information about the on-chain in our mastery course. So with that said, guys, hopefully you guys got some value from this. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell if you want to get notified when we post new videos. We're going to be coming out with a lot of content starting next week, a lot of educational stuff based on these on-chain and a couple other things that we want to be sharing with you guys. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, guys, and I will see you in the next video.